In this video lesson, we're going to be looking at avenues of information, advice, and guidance, i.e. where you can go as a new company starting out to get support for your work and for your business. And I think this is important because, especially in the UK, there are a number of different organisations, whether that's generic business support organisations, creative organisations, venues, which we'll talk about in just a minute, but that are specifically funded, and it is their job to give you support and guidance and advice. So I would recommend you find out what's available and try to utilize it as much as possible, whether that's in your local area or in your region, or else some of the national schemes as well. But it is important to bear in mind that, everybody's got an opinion in this industry and everybody will be willing to give you some advice, but some of it may not always be relevant to you, and you may be trying to do something a little bit different or going down a slightly different path. So I would recommend, take advice, have a listen to it, and if it's not relevant for you, then, you don't have to act on it. But sometimes it's useful to try and find out what others have done and perhaps then just decide what you're going to do. So there's a number of different areas in the UK when you can access support for starting off as a company. Personal contacts, would be my essential first port of call, really. There's an awful lot of companies that have been in the same position as you are right now, that have gone through what you have done. And it's my experience in this industry that most people are extremely approachable and are more than happy to tell you their stories, give you a bit of advice. But do be aware that, when you're contacting people, they do have limited amounts of time, so if you can be quite specific with your requests, that generally helps. There are a number of different areas as well. We're going to have a look at generic business support, creative business support organisations, membership organisations, networks, venues, and a brief look at local authorities and what support they can give you. But having a look first at generic business support organisations that are out there, probably the most well-known one is BusinessLink, which is a national organisation that are charged with helping new companies set up. They have a fantastic website, and by the way, I'll put all the links to all these websites that I've mentioned in the resources for this module, so don't worry too much about trying to read the links. BusinessLink have a fantastic website. They have lots and lots of documents and PDFs that you can download, so do have a look. The second area of generic business support are enterprise agencies, and this is an example of one here, GLE1 London, which is a Greater London enterprise. And they can provide, depending on your local area, different areas of support in terms of events, workshops, perhaps finance for your company, one-to-one advice. Then getting on to more specific creative business support organisations. These are located all over the country, and depending on perhaps where you live or where you work, it will depend on what support you can receive from them. But do a Google search or ask around and find out what is in your local area. Many of them will run events, many of them will have mailing lists, lots of them have downloadable resources. This is the Cultural Enterprise Office, which are actually a creative business organisation based in Scotland. So, unless you're based in Scotland, you wouldn't be able to access, for example, their one-to-one advice. However, they have some amazing resources and information to download across the creative industries on their website. So it's always worth having a look at different organisations and not just ones in your local area to see what sort of information is out there. This is ECCA, which stands for the Enterprise Centre for the Creative Arts. They're based at the London College of Communication in South London. Again, they have some wonderful events. They do one-to-one advice with different business advisors. They have a great section on the website which are podcasts of all the events that they run. So some of these are well worth a look. And again, it just shows as an example that even if you can't perhaps use the one-to-one advice of these particular organisations because you're not based in the area, perhaps there are resources that you can use from their websites. Moving on to membership organisations, the Independent Theatre Council is one of the better known ones, of course, for theatre and performing arts organisations. They are well worth a look. They do wonderful training, mainly based in London. They give advice and information, in terms of their website, but also over the phone. So do have a look at them and see if they can be of use to you. Dance UK is a similar organisation for dance companies. They've got some great resources, they've got some great publications, and they run some really good networking events for the dance industry. The National Association of Street Artists is another membership organisation for artists working in the street art sector, so do have a look at them. In terms of networks, there's a number of different network organisations out there. Lots of them are starting up, all the time. New Work Network is one that I find particularly interesting. They have a great website. You can find out things like jobs, grants and funding. They have a really good newsletter that you can sign up to, so do have a look at that. It is a sort of a network and membership organisations. You can also post a profile on the website and sort of try and make links with people either in your area or across the UK, so they're well worth a look. There are a number of venues around the UK that may have specific support schemes for new artists and new organisations starting up. So do have a look at what's in your local area, what's in your region. This is an example of one in London. It's Battersea Arts Centre, who have a supported artist scheme that you can avail of. Also in London, Oval House Theatre in South London have an artist advisor who is funded by the Arts Council to give one-to-one advice and support for emerging companies. So find out, in your area if there's anything similar to that. In Lancaster, for example, the Nuffield Theatre have a supported artist scheme as well, specifically for companies and artists working sort of more in the live art and performance areas. Lastly, you can also access support generally from your local authority arts officer. For example, many arts officers will have mailing lists that you can sign up to. They may have events that you can get involved with, funding opportunities, lists of venues, they can give one-to-one advice. So do get in contact with your local authority officer and find out what you can access. And that's all for now.